Peace and light, that old guy Australia on YouTube BitChute. OE58 over on Rumble. Now look, thanks very much for everything. I've got a lot of people writing to me saying, am I okay? Is Joe okay? Haven't seen you for a while, you haven't done any videos, what's happening? About time you did one. And I did say my next one was going to be on fiat currency. I'm going to touch on that in a second, but I'll just let you know, we've been a bit flat, but we've also been moving out of our old home, which is about to be demolished, I think on Monday, maybe, depending on the weather. I think it'll be demolished on Monday. So we've been taking stuff out and getting things out and getting ready for the next chapter in our lives, which is going to be pretty exciting at this bloody age, let me tell you. Anyway, so fiat currency. Fiat currency is a false-based currency. It doesn't exist, right? Prior to the 70s, all currencies were gold-based currencies. They were backed by gold reserves. Whatever gold reserves you had in your country, that was the amount of money you were allowed to print. Now in the 70s, under Nixon, America moved away into fiat currency. That enabled them to print more money. And they didn't need a reserve of gold to back it up. They didn't need anything to back it up. These are the Jesuits. This is what they do. You know that's what happened with Hitler. We won't go into that. So they moved away from a gold-based currency into fiat currency. Fiat currency is the price of paper money value determined by the government. Value determined by the government. Now you'll see things quite often. It'll go, the Reserve Bank of Australia, blah, blah, blah. Right? Now we know, the Reserve Bank of Australia doesn't exist. It's a Reserve Bank. It has nothing to do with Australia except for laundering money. It is not an Australian bank. These banks are all around the world, except in Russia, because they're owned by the Rothschilds, and Putin wouldn't let the Reserve Bank into Russia. Think about that one for a second. All these banks are owned by BlackRock and Vanguard. You can Google that, or you can Yahoo Finance that. I don't really give a rat's ass what you do, but you can find out that it's true. They're all owned by BlackRock and Vanguard. Two companies own all the banking systems throughout the world. In fact, they own Swiss Bank, they own Commonwealth Bank. Anyway, you got no idea. If you don't know, you don't know. If you know, you know. But fiat currency is a false-based currency based upon a price determined by the government on paper notes. That's it. There has to be nothing backing it. So how do they borrow? Well, it's really simple. When you're born, you have a birth certificate. You have a number. Everybody's numbered. They allow a certain amount of time for you to grow up and start working, and they allow a certain amount of time for you to retire. And in between that is your value to the government, your financial value to the government. Now you multiply that by the amount of people you got working, and that determines how much tax you can get, how much money you might be able to get, etc., and what your borrowing capacity may be. Hence the ratings, AA, AAA, whatever it might be. So you see how it works? That's basics. I can go into it a lot more, and believe me, people will put things in the comments probably, but you can go into it a lot more than that. And I understand, I'm just trying to give you a basic, very basic understanding of what fiat currency is. The Reserve Bank does not exist. Right? These are banks that are owned and controlled by the globalist elite. And they control the currencies of the world and the financial institutions of the world, and they also control the governments of the world financially. That's why we're $3 trillion in debt, and we're sending relief money. Oh yeah, we got this money here, we got that money there. All the money we have is borrowed. We've been in a recession for 2 years. We've had no businesses. They've been going bankrupt. No one's paying taxes. Major corporations don't pay taxes anyway. Apple didn't pay in Australia 1 cent in tax. So where do they get the money from? They borrow it. Who's lending it to us? Who do you think? Who do you think lends us the money to keep us going? Who's controlling the whole thing? Who's got their hands on a pack of cards, ready to pull it out and let it fall down for the Great Reset? So they just go, you know what, too many countries have too much money. We'll start again. Although there are going to be some rules to this. Own nothing, be happy. The Great Reset. Coming your way, thanks to Klaus Schwab and the WEF. Soros boys, the Rothschilds and the global elitists. Don't worry about that. The Trilateral Commission, the UN. Oh, it's a big pool. It's a wonderful school. These are the people controlling our lives. You might not think they are. You might think I'm a raving idiot. I don't really particularly care. Like I said, if you know, you know. And if you don't, you won't. End of story. Peace and light, that old guy Australia. I'll be doing a couple of quick videos this week. One's going to be a plea for a bit of help, not for me, got nothing to do with me, just going to help someone out. And I've got another one to do on some stuff that's happening up north, because it's unravelling very, very fast. Peace and light, that old guy Australia. Like, subscribe, share.